Before I begin this video, ladies and gentlemen, I wanted to give a big shout out to either Ryan or Brian. It's a gentleman that was at a stoplight right next to me, and I hear someone going, "Hey P, hey P." So he's looking at me, and I bring down my window, and he says, "Hey man, thanks a lot for all your videos." So thank you very much. I couldn't get his name 100% because when I put down my window, you know, you hear all of the traffic and everything. But anyways, thank you very much for approaching me and saying hello. It was very, very nice to meet you. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, I thought I'd go out for a drive this morning and do a little voiceover on something that I came across here yesterday. Now the title of this video says something about this is going to be the scariest video you've ever watched or something like that. So yesterday I was going through all of the hell comments. You know, whenever there's comments that have bad words and stuff like that on it, they put it in a different folder so that I can review it. And I'm looking through there just to see what there is there, and I released a few of them. And I noticed that there's a lot of comments, well not a lot, a very small percentage, but I wanted to address this, of people saying that what I'm doing here is fear-mongering, that all I'm doing is selling you something, and etc, etc, etc. Well, I wanted to start out with a few things over here that I just pulled up from the internet. Just a few of the things. This is a fraction of everything that's going on in our world that I feel we should be concerned about, and that I feel have a lot of validity as to what we can look towards the future as happening here in the US and even in any country that you live in. So take a look at this. The first one here is the number of homeless people just in the United States. As you can see here, I'm just scrolling through each state, but there's over 500,000 homeless here in the United States. And our Congress, our Senate, our leadership, supposedly, that's what they're called, right? Our representatives, they're busy giving everything away to other countries while we here in the United States suffer. More homeless, more poor, more destitute as we give things away. And we are passing bills to give away our wealth to other countries as we suffer here. Do you think you ought not be thinking, or at least be in the process of preparing for the day that the government lets you down completely? So let's take a look at a few of the articles that I found that are very recent, and then you can judge for yourself whether or not you should be preparing. Whether or not I'm trying to scare you so that you can buy something from me. I don't even sell anything. I'm affiliated with Nutrient Survival and a couple other sites, and it's up to you whether you buy it or not. But this is to those people out there that say that I'm fear-mongering. Now I know most of you are going to say don't listen to the trolls and stuff like that, but I want to make sure that people are woken up, that you are awake as to what is happening in this country and around the world. 5 economists who say this recession will be the next Great Depression. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be entering into what is a Great Depression, if not a greater depression than the one that was experienced back in the early 1930s. The greatest famine in history could start globally in 2023 due to fertilizer shortages. Do you think you should not be preparing? In Sri Lanka, a country of very peaceful people historically, they are now burning down houses that belong to politicians and hunting them down because they are out of fuel and they are out of food. Their money is worthless. Brazil is facing a potential crop failure due to freeze. JP Morgan here, who is one of the most indicted banks in the world, is still operational. This list that you're looking at right here is just for like a 4 or 6 year period, and they were fined over $35 billion. We are going through a mega drought that is the worst in at least 1,200 years, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think you shouldn't be prepping? Even the mainstream media is now saying inflation is here to stay for quite some time. And now they're telling you this is what you should buy. So even though inflation is out of control, they're still trying to sell you something. It is the mainstream media. It is the politicians that are trying to sell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Lawmakers sound the alarm on a shrinking middle class as high inflation hits. How long have we been talking about the shrinking middle class? That it is being done intentionally. America last, the Senate passes a $40 billion bill to go to Ukraine while not passing a $48 billion bill for here in the United States to help small businesses. A solar minimum is coming. We have been warned. What does a solar minimum equal? It equals less food, ladies and gentlemen. It equals worse weather. India stands between the world and food riots. As India decides to keep its food and feed its people, it is criticized by the rest of the world because it does not want to export food that they know they will need for their people. Food riots are here already. Sri Lanka is having food riots. Take a look at what's going on in Pakistan, Lebanon, all of these southern American countries as well. Even the president came out and said that there is going to be a food shortage crisis. So should you not be prepping? Because food riots will be coming to the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, and to whatever country you're in. Because food does not care where you live. Food does not care who you are or who you call your God. Look at this. American banks closed record number of retail branches in 2021 with Wells Fargo shuttering the most. Banks are closing en masse. Ladies and gentlemen, what does that tell you about the future? Probably that maybe we're going to be going to a different kind of a currency because the currency that we have now is junk. Look at the electricity in the United States, how fragile our electrical grid is. Do you think it's going to stand up to all of these adverse weather events that we've been experiencing? Food banks are running out of food. They're saying we are in danger of running out of food because of higher prices and demand squeeze on food banks. Where are you going to get your food if you're not stocked up, if the food banks have no food? Food banks, local pantries are running out of food as shelves sit empty. Do you think you should not be preparing? Do you think this is fear-mongering? Top economist warns conditions are ripe for a 1970s style stagflation. Stagflation is when there is high unemployment and high inflation at the same time. Should you not be prepping? Most Wall Street experts now predict stagflation. Do you have to hear it from them in order to prep? Then go ahead, hear it from them. I don't care if you hear it from me or from them, but hear it from someone. Let it get to your head that you need to be prepared. Global recession, not yet, economists say, but brace for high prices and low growth. And look at this. First it was the first health crisis, and now they have to push us into a second health crisis. Jamie Dimon, all right, the CEO of the most criminally indicted bank in the world is now saying brace for an economic hurricane. Now, that was my opinion on the most criminally indicted bank, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't want to get sued. And why is this, ladies and gentlemen? Why are more Americans dying young? Why? Top data breaches and cyber attacks of 2022. Look at all of these cyber attacks that happened just in 22 already. These are all the companies that have been attacked. Do you really think that they can't get to our power grid? Ladies and gentlemen, if you think I'm fear-mongering, if you think that what I'm telling you is just telling you stuff so that I can get clicks, then go ahead and live your lives in a normalcy bias, and God bless you. I hope that you do well, because we are going to need our preps. We are going to need to be prepared for what is coming. If you don't want to get ready, don't get ready. You think that everything is okay in the U.S.? Everyone is happy, go lucky, everything is just great, nobody's going hungry? Nobody's having to worry about how they're going to be able to pay their rent to keep a roof over the heads of their families. For those of you that think this is fear-mongering, this is not even close to fear-mongering. I only spent about 5 minutes looking for these articles, and I know that there are a lot more out there than what I just showed you. So wake up. Stop being an idiot. If you want to go ahead and watch some really nice, fluffy kitty cats, here's one for you. Here's a little clip of me playing with Mrs. Pebbles, my lovely kitty cat. I hope this makes you happy, but will it keep you fed? Violent crimes on the rise in 2022 following previous unprecedented spikes in murder. People are getting clubbed over the head for their groceries, ladies and gentlemen. You have the time now to prepare, so prepare now.